How's it going, guys? Joe here from Big Shark Gaming. Today we're going to be reviewing the 24-hour live stream that happened in Glimwood Tangle Forest just the other day, Friday into Saturday. Um, a lot happened, but also not a lot happened. I had predicted it about a week beforehand that I really wanted it to be kind of like a wildlife camera type thing, make it into like a true biology type of feel. And to my surprise and my happiness, it actually went that way. However, I may be one of the few people who are actually really pleased with this. A lot of stuff on the internet was saying how people were bored with it, they were making memes about it, they were making fun of it. But I'm a huge fan of what they did here. Um, Now, that doesn't mean it was all great. That doesn't mean that it was all perfect. But it was still a very, very good live stream. Now, first off, I have to say, anybody who is complaining that this was too long, it should have been shorter, it should have been more action packed, it should have been more filled. You should take a step back and actually go watch an actual biological live stream. I said it because I was going to war with Joe Merrick from Cerebi over on Twitter because he is the biggest crybaby I have ever seen, um, especially when it comes to this. He was extremely unpleasant the entire time, as were certain people, but him notably because he's the webmaster for Cerebi.net. For those of you who don't know Cerebi is a really, really long-standing Pokemon news and journalism website where they bring news for Pokemon, all their spin-off games, even some Smash Bros. Stuff. Um, and, really, I've used this website since I'm a kid. Um, so it is a good website, but I've lost so much respect for the way they handled themselves on this live stream. It was just so stupid. So we start off the 24-hour stream. We get a Pikachu, and we're like, cool. Pikachu darts across the screen, kind of stands there, greets us, and then it turns and it looks and it jolts off. It was scared by something. We never really got to see what that was, whether that was Galarian Ponyta running by that spooked it or what. We never really saw what startled that Pikachu. Um, but going back into the whole prospect of it, that was a fun part. And to have a wildlife cam where you see something so quickly is extremely rare, extremely uncommon. A lot of times, what these like wildlife cams do is that they'll sit in a spot for a period of time, whether it be 6 hours or 12 hours, 24 hours. A lot of times, it is overnight. They kind of established right away that the Glenwood Tangle was so dark that it didn't really have a day or a night cycle. So this would leave animals to kind of sleep and be about themselves at any given point of time. And one of the biggest complaints about this was that people were saying that there was way too much going on off screen. You'd hear cries, you'd hear tree ruffling, you'd hear galloping, you'd hear buzzing. God, it aggravated me so much. As somebody who's worked with animals for a very long period of time, I worked at the New York Aquarium. I worked at Petco for a few years. Um, I've also had my own reptiles, my own animals and stuff as well. Animals, although sometimes they may be habitual, are not predictable. You cannot sit there and put a camera down and expect to see animals constantly in your plain view of sight. We are meant to believe that Pokemon are the animals of this universe, and they should be respected and behave as such. So you can put a camera on, you may not see anything. The fact that we saw anything on this 24-hour cam and didn't just hear noises, um, we're extremely lucky. Have you ever sat there and did a 24-hour cam? Go leave a phone or a camera outside your window for 24 hours and see what you see. You may see a couple birds, and that's maybe a squirrel, and that's just about it. You might see the same squirrel 15 times. So people were getting mad that we saw Impidimp a few times. I mean, Impidimp. Impidimp. I like Impidimp better. Impidimp. Um, or we saw Pikachu a few times, we saw Phantom a few times, we saw Morlo a lot. That happens in these camps. You might see the same creatures over and over and over and over again because you're in their field of range now. Pokemon and animals, rather, don't exactly have the largest territories, they tend to stay with what they're familiar with. Tend to stay within an area where they are familiar with the groundworks, the tree lines, where their dens are, where they can get food. If they've gotten food somewhere before, they might say, "Hey, I got food here before, so I'm gonna stay around here because there's food here or there's water there." It's all habitual because they know this is gonna give me the best opportunity to survive, thrive, and reproduce. And the fact that people were complaining, oh, we saw this Pokemon several times. Oh, we didn't see enough in this time. It was 24 hours, but we didn't really see that much. That's real. That's exactly how it would be. And people going over these biological cams and saying, oh, well, we didn't see this, we didn't see this, we didn't see this. When a well, first of all, there's no one biologist that goes out, and takes this 24-hour camp and then watches it. What will happen is I'll send it to a group of people. They'll all watch different sections of it and break it down over the course of months. We had, at any given time, 20,000 people staring at a screen. That's not a realistic scenario as to how these type of films would be reviewed. They'd watch them at all different gradients, at all different zooms, at all different, quadrants and spectrums, and sit there and go pixel by pixel. So it takes a much more prolonged period of time to say, hey, did I miss that caterpillar? Or this is a brand new species of worm, or even mite, or centipede, or hey, what is that really small bird? Or like, what is this? What is that? What is this? All different periods of times, and I'll watch it several times, and I'll break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down until they could say, that they have come to a finite conclusion as to what they saw, observed, and reported. You may not see anything. We're lucky that we saw as much as we did because we were in one territory. And people were sitting there complaining, saying, oh, well, we're seeing the same Pokemon over and over and over again. We should be seeing more. I just don't understand where you're getting that from. And people were also complaining, saying, well, we already knew that these Pokemon were in the game, so we're not getting any new information. Yes, we are. We're getting the fact that we know now that we can find these Pokemon that we knew were in the game in the Glimwood Tangle Forest. Now, we could associate Swirlix with the Glimwood Tangle Forest. We could associate Pikachu. We could associate Phantump, Impidimp. All the Pokemon that we saw in this live stream, Shiinotic, Morlul, we can now associate with a territory. We know where to go and find them, and we could also kind of like cross-examine and be like, hey, now we know we can find Pokemon like this in this area. And that's information that we did not have prior. So people should be taking this with a grain of salt. That's saying, hey, cool, we already saw these Pokemon, but now we know where to find them. And then obviously the main attraction and the big tease throughout all of it was hearing the galloping, hearing the cries of Ponyta. And credit to all the people who were observing it and hearing these cries and be like, oh man, that's Ponyta's cry. That's like this and that. And then Ponyta finally like making a sneak appearance and getting blocked off by Impidimp. And then like kind of brushing through and hearing it. And finally we got the big reveal of it. I thought it was like very, very good teasing because that's a lot of like the frustrating parts of like these actual biological things. You might hear rustling, you're like, oh man, what is that? Is that like a squirrel? Is that something new? Something big? Something small? What is it? And you might not ever get that information because you just may not ever see the animal, which is infuriating. Trust me. But these things are supposed to be like boring and slow, but also extremely exciting and exhilarating because you're like, man, at any point I can get something new. I could get something absolutely incredible. And that's kind of what we got here. I'm not saying that it was all perfect. I really wish that there was some scenes where maybe we saw some Pokemon rustling. Maybe we saw them fighting a little bit. There's always going to be like some sort of hostility in an area like this. Maybe Pokemon in general are in the wild are just a lot more coexisting and better at cohabiting than a lot of animals in real life. I'm surprised we didn't see more of like a pack thing. Is Impidimp a like a Pokemon who like prefers Solarity? We saw a bunch of Morlul together, which was cool, but we didn't see any like Pikachu together. And we know from the Viridian Forest that Pikachu liked to clan up. We go way back to when Ash almost left Pikachu with a group of Pikachus in Viridian Forest, that they like to be in a group, but we didn't see that here. Maybe it's different in the Galar region. Maybe we already know the Galar region has a lot more of a different environment. It's a little bit more hard to survive in the Galar region, as we've seen with Lanoon. Um, but maybe that type of thing makes it a little bit different. So maybe Pikachu don't really cluster in the Glimwood Tangled Forest. Um, but we already know now that the Ponyta do. They're clearly a group of animals. They're a family-based animal because we saw the two. We saw one without a tail, and we saw one with a tail. I'm going to presume that's a gender thing as well. Maybe the males don't have that big bushy tail. Maybe the males do, and that's how they breed. That's how they get they attract females, which is very, very common in animal species. There's a lot of dimorphism. Um, Especially with like a lot of like fish species or even birds. Birds will have a lot more different traits in the males and the females. There's a lot of different dimorphic designs. Um, but I mean, we didn't see any like bug type Pokemon or even bird type Pokemon. Maybe there's no birds in this forest. But we didn't see any bug types. We didn't see Caterpie or Weedle or Wormpole. We didn't see any sort of like Kricketot, um, or any new bug Pokemon that were introduced as well, where you would definitely expect this type of habitat to be a home to those type of Pokemon. You'd expect something like a Seedot to be here as well. And we didn't get that either. Maybe we will, and in time they'll reveal more. But 24 hours seems like a long time to not reveal any sort of bug type Pokemon, which is kind of contradictory to what I said before. Maybe they're there, but maybe we just didn't get to see them. We did, however, get to see quite a few Pokemon. A lot of them we already knew, but now we're also getting what we presume to be is Galarian Ponyta. At the end of the stream, we heard a cry of Rapidash, so you have to assume that if this is Ponyta, it would also be Galarian Rapidash. And please, for the love of God, please make it a fucking Pegasus. We need this to be a Pegasus so badly. It'd be great, thank you. I'm going to presume that it's probably a fairy type. I would really, really hope for like Ponyta would be fairy electric, and then Rapidash, if it is a Pegasus, would be fairy flying, which would be really cool. In my opinion, anyway. You guys could obviously comment down below what you think the typing would be. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good time. It was not anything that they would ever expect anybody to sit down and watch 24 hours straight of. And I think that was a big problem. When you have like these real wildlife camps, you don't leave them on for 24 hours and just sit there staring at them. That's how you drive yourself crazy and miss things. Like I said, usually with these type of things, you sit down in the camp or you go back to your lab and you have several people dissecting several different time frames that overlap a little bit. Someone might have hours 1 through 4, and then someone might have hours 3 through 7. This way there's a little bit of overlapping, and you watch it, and you rotate it out to different people for fresh eyes, and re-watch it, and re-examine it over the course of months. Anybody who watched all 24 hours straight is absolutely mad, and that's probably why you didn't enjoy it. This was something that I always had planned to leave on in the background, watch a few minutes here and there, catch what I can. If something was reported, I'd go back and I'd watch it. I'd be like, oh, that was pretty cool. I'm also surprised that we didn't get as many Pokemon examining the camera. It doesn't look like there was anything around the camera to cause any sort of like blockage to make it less, inconspicuous. But I mean, we got Impidimp up close in the camera. We got a few Ponyta shots up close in the camera. But like, we never really got anything else. Nothing really interacted with the camera at all. It definitely doesn't seem like it was covered at all. I was also predicting that the giant branch that was at the bottom left corner of the screen was something's tail. I don't know. It just didn't look tree-like to me. I was expecting it towards the end to like just drift away. I also was expecting something big to be moving in between the giant tree post. We didn't really get anything like that either. We got a lot of small Pokemon, to be honest. Which is fine. I mean, you don't have to have... Who knows? Maybe the Glimwood Tangle Forest benefits Pokemon being smaller. because it's so thick and dense, and it's very, very tangled. And if you're a large body, you can't really make your way through it as easily. So smaller bodies tend to be more efficient. Which you gotta remember that like these Pokemon are meant to be the animals of this world, like I said earlier, and they would behave the same way in respects to animals in the real world. So they would live in areas that benefited them the most, and they would adapt it, and they would learn how to thrive in these areas. So I mean, I don't know. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a great time, and a lot of people are mad about it. And I don't think that they'll ever do anything like this again, which is kind of a shame because I thought it was a new, fun, interesting way of revealing things. We did only get one reveal. I was hoping to, we'd get a few more, whether it be like a few grass type Pokemon or just a few bug type Pokemon, maybe a bird type Pokemon. First form of like Corviknight, maybe. Um, I feel like they definitely could have been more than just Ponyta. But at least we found out some information as to like where Pokemon reside, which is pretty cool. And now we know like Phantom and Trevenant are in the game. We know like Moral, Shiinotic, Swirlix, Cottony and Whimsicott are in the game. I believe Swirlix was there as well, actually. Swirlix and what's the name of Swirlix? Jump off? No, not Jump off. Slurpuff. Slurpuff. Yeah, I mean, we knew they were already there. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think. So comment down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and obey. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.